Today's episode is brought to you by the new Kirkland Hard Seltzer. I'm just kidding. But that would be a dope-ass sponsor. Um, Today, we're going to talk about the Goonery of the Week. We're going to recap the Bears versus the Rams. And we're going to talk about the game of the week, which was the Titans and Steelers. And next week, looks like the Steelers and the Ravens have a pretty big matchup. I'm Uncle Adam. With me is Brandon Cauley and the innkeeper. This is the Goonery. All right, boys, we've got a lot to talk about. I know we're all a little down in the dumps on our now 5-2 Bears. We'll hold off on that for a second. A lot of Goonery around the league this past week. We saw Daniel Jones get sniped, among some other things. Brandon, what stood out to you this week? Who are you going to nominate?
I'm very, very glad you started with me because I've been waiting and chomping at the bit for about a week now to get into this. So I'm going to preface what I'm going to say by saying Cam Newton played like absolute crap on Sunday. Let me get that out the way. But what is unnecessary and unprofessional is for a guy who has a national platform like former quarterback Jeff Garcia to delve into the fact that he didn't play good, but that wasn't the topic of his rant that he had. His focus was, why does he dress the way that he does when he's losing? And initially I thought, okay, wait a minute. First of all, Cam Newton's been dressing this way ever since he got into the league. So why is that an issue? Why are you concerned with what another man is wearing? And I don't know if this is because I haven't heard much about Jeff Garcia since he left NFL Network. I don't know if I speak for everyone else when I say that, but I haven't heard much about him. So I don't know if this was an attempt to get clicks or what, but once you delve into the whole thing of talking about what another man wears and saying that's a distraction, and he's a me guy because of that, that's where things get just completely just stupid, because this has not been a thing since like when he won MVP. He started dressing this way or anything like that. When he went to the Super Bowl, he was dressing like this. He was dressing like this from the beginning. Cam Newton is very, very true to who he is. And he will not change for anybody. So for the fact that Jeff Garcia had to get into the fact of he's a me guy, which is completely false because you don't hear teammates say bad things about Cam Newton. So that's a big, big factor in all of this. But it was completely unprofessional, and I lost all respect for Jeff Garcia because you could just hear the dog whistles just whistling from every comment he was making. I can get more into that, but I'm going to leave it at that.
Yeah, Jeff Garcia out of obscurity to talk about Cam Newton's dress.
And how many teams has he played for? So clearly, he's not good enough to have stability. But yeah, he could talk about a man that's played for 2 teams and has won MVP and has brought his team to the Super Bowl. So
another thing that kind of stood out to me about that, Jeff Garcia was with the NFL Network for a while, like you mentioned, but it goes to show you how little you really have to do in the league to get yourself set up for life afterwards to get that media job. He's not qualified for that job. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like you said, Cam's play on the field is not where it should be this year. 3 touchdowns, 3 passing touchdowns, but completely unrelated. It's
5 rushing.
You don't hear it. It's almost like how the media members a year or 2 ago with Tim Anderson, little thing Tim Anderson did to show a little bit of emotion, they're up in arms about it. And if you're not used to it from Cam Newton yet, I don't know what to tell you.
So do you guys feel that, it sounds like you feel like he's out of line for talking about Cam Newton's dress. You guys just don't care what the player wears after the game, no matter if he's winning or losing?
No, because at the end of the day, if this is who you are, because if this was a thing where you're like how Ryan Fitzpatrick was dressing when he was playing for the Buccaneers, and this was just out of nowhere because we didn't know that he would dress the way that he does. If he did that after a loss, I'll be like, okay, this is something new. Is this something that's trying to change from the fact that you lost a game or played bad, or whatever? I don't know what you're trying to do. Cam Newton's been doing this since he's gotten to the league. So if that's the case, I don't give a damn about what he wears after the game because that's him. He's not trying to change because of these media members that come at him for wearing something that they can't pull off on their best day. I don't care about that. That's who he is.
Yeah, right on. Ben, who's your Gooner of the week?
And we've said it before, but this is, I mean, looking no further than Matt Nagy. I'm sitting on the couch watching the game. There's one specific moment that really stood out to me. It's in the fourth quarter, 4th and 1, and I tweeted out. I didn't even realize Cordero Patterson was on the field at this moment, but it was 4th and 1, and I tweeted Cordero Patterson up the middle. Watch. Next thing you know, it's a pitch to Cordero Patterson for a loss of yards on 4th and 1. In the backfield, you know what's going to be coming in short yardage package.
Yo, your audio has got
Yeah, you cover your mic, I believe.
We good now? We good?
Yeah, you're good.
All right. You knew what was coming when Patterson was in the backfield on 4th and 1. The Rams knew it, but Matt Nagy still thought that they didn't know it. But I think every armchair quarterback across the country knew it was coming. And the Rams didn't even celebrate after stopping on 4th and 1. They just, business as usual. If that's not a shot in the arm to Matt Nagy to realize that something has to change with his offensive play calling, I don't know what else will be.
Yeah, we'll get into that a little bit more when we recap the Bears game. But yeah, it seems like every week we're nominating Matt Nagy's coaching as some of the Gooner of the week.
Rightfully so.
Mm-hmm.
I'm torn.
One thing with Nagy, real quick on Nagy, I don't question him as a motivator and as a game manager and his ability to rally the team around him. I question his play calling abilities, and it's quite apparent that someone needs to get in his ear if they haven't already and tell him that something has to change. You need to find a new play caller, someone you can trust.
I'm saying,
yeah, one of the things that stood out too, Nick Foles, I heard he's kind of complaining about some of the play calls. They're calling these like 5-7 step drop back plays that Nick Foles just knows there's no way in hell that they're going to be able to execute that, given the offensive line situation. So hopefully they can, figure some shit out. But, it's not in sync on offense, as we saw. For my Gooner of the week, I was torn between two. The Daniel Jones running, 80 yards, and then all of a sudden he just loses balance, falls down, just, putting an exclamation mark on his young career is
I mean, that's the New York Giants for you. In all honesty, New York football, you could even say at this point.
Oh, it's so bad.
The NFC East is just a complete and utter dumpster fire, and that run pretty much personifies what that conference division is right now.
And I don't know what's worse, him getting sniped while almost getting to the touchdown, or the fact that he and an injured Saquon Barkley went out after the game to a bar and got caught at that. No mask, no nothing, just vibes. And I don't think there's any discipline for them because, I guess it's the privilege of being a starting quarterback and in the face of the franchise, at least for Saquon Barkley's sake. But you would think that things would change under Joe Judge because he's such a disciplinarian hard ass, but it seems like it's just the same crap because even DeAndre Baker got in trouble. So, I don't think it's much of a difference that's going on with the organization. And maybe it starts with the Maras or it could start with Gettleman, but I think that Gettleman won't last after the season. So, we'll see if things change, but it just seems like things are still the same for the Giants.
Yeah. A few other ones I saw that stood out too, some honorable mentions. The DK Metcalf rundown of Buda Baker in that Seahawks-Cardinal game, that was unreal.
That boy's
the wave from Buda Baker is just poetic justice.
Oh, man. Yeah, that was one of the better memes I've seen in a while. The DK Metcalf chasing down Buda Baker, that was pretty gnarly. And then the Lions and Atlanta Falcons, I know we're nominating them every week. But Todd Gurley, man, falling in the end zone for the score. is just hilarious. Especially because like 2 years ago he took a knee at like the 1 yard line and like cost fantasy owners like a bunch of
Mhm.
uproar on not running in the touchdown.
I think it happened on my team that year too. So
Not sure.
The irony
Not
there.
not sure if you guys saw the mic'd up of the Falcons huddle before that
yeah,
play, but Matt Ryan saying, "Todd, just get the first down and fall down," and then
Yeah.
he like I don't even know. Like he bounced off a one hit and he started falling forward. He very well easily could have stopped himself, I felt like. But and I know people have been talking about it on Twitter. He has a $500,000 incentive if he gets to 13 touchdowns. So at this point, who knows?
I mean,
Well,
listen, with the Falcons, they ain't going nowhere. Might as well get
Uh-uh.
your money while you can.
Absolutely.
hilarious if that was the case that he's like, oh, I'm going to pretend like I'm trying to go down at the one, but screw it up so that my stats are padded enough to make my money on a losing organization.
Hey, get your bag however you can. Good for him.
Yeah.
Getting
All right,
chicken.
fellas. We got to figure out a way to select a winner. I know we keep nominating these guys. We try to do like a fan vote on Twitter. So if you guys want to, check that out, get over at the _Goonery. We post this every week. Try to get the fans' take on, what was the most egregious thing that we witnessed over the weekend. You think we have a consensus on here of one, or are we all just kind of?
I think it's a matter of what you're picking because Daniel Jones getting sniped is just like that's gonna be a meme forever.
I know.
Yeah.
So that's got my vote.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree with that, but for me, it's in between Daniel Jones and DK Metcalf and Buda Baker, but I think I would probably have to roll with Jones because that was just he tripped on his own shoelace.
I mean,
Pretty
that
much.
looked like one of my nightmares when I was like a little kid, where like I think I can run in my dream, but like I am just slowed down by something and not able to like move my body the way I want to. If I'm getting chased, I just fall down, and that's what that reminded me of. All right, we'll give it to Daniel Jones. I think that's a fair pick.
Yeah.
All right, moving on. The Bears versus the Rams on Monday night. Oh, so
Beautiful.
this started out as, man, the Bears tied for first place, 5-1, looking good. I know we had the questions on offense, but yeah, those questions on offense were really exposed on Monday night against, just a pretty solid running offense, pretty just solid overall team. They haven't played too many of those this year. Tampa Bay being their only, victory of any significance. Where do the Bears go from here?
I mean, if you want to go there, I guess there's only up from here based on how bad that performance was. But I mean, it's so apparent that the offensive line needs to be addressed. I know there was rumors of Alex Mack from the Falcons being traded to the Bears earlier this week, which with the O-line being banged up on the interior, that's obviously never a bad thing to bring in a very successful veteran. Bears still can't run the football. And it's gross. It's gross offensively. There's really no other way to put it. The defense will continue to do their job, and we all know that.
See, now I know we get on Matt Nagy for having horrible play calling, and I'll be the first one to say that he's not a good play caller, and he's shown extreme nepotism for not wanting to give up play calling duties. But let's just call it what it is. I don't want the laziness from the media to get into the point of having Mitch Trubisky come in to relieve Nick Foles or anything like that. Because here's the reality: quarterback, running back, wide receivers, everyone's gonna suffer because the offensive line is god awful. It's that simple. This offensive line is among the worst I've seen in a long, long time. And that's saying a lot because the Bears have had some bad offensive lines in the past couple of years. This is reminiscent of when Jay Cutler, Todd Counts like a couple of plays and Caleb Haney was behind that Mike Martz line. That line was horrible. You cannot put that line out against a team like the Saints, and you got the Titans coming up, you got the Vikings coming up, even though they're pretty banged up and they're pretty much out of it. You cannot have a scenario where you have that offensive line stay intact. You cannot have a scenario where Rashad Coward is still playing guard. You cannot have a scenario where the tackles are still intact, even though Charles Leno played good, even though we raggle him a lot. He played good. But Massey's been an absolute just trash bag this year. This offensive line needs to be addressed, because if not, everyone is going to fail. And we're not going to see the actual Nick Foles that I believe we can actually see with the weapons that they have, even though Allen Robinson probably won't play. But right now, nothing can be done on offense, because this offensive line just is an absolute dumpster fire. And this all falls on Ryan Pace, who I'm not the person that rags on him a lot, but at the same time, this is someone that draft didn't address the offensive line to the 7th round. Free agency didn't address the offensive line instead of outside of Fetty, who's obviously not the answer either. So
he wasn't good in Seattle, and I didn't
he was
expect
exactly.
anything
He
out
was
of
the
him
most
in Chicago.
he was the most penalized football player in the entire league last year. He's horrible. He's absolutely horrible, and I don't know why we thought we'd be the team to fix him.
So hopefully, sounds like Matt Nagy maybe needs to give up calling the plays on offense. We keep bringing that up each week. Are there any options for him to, give those duties to an offensive coordinator or someone that?
I mean, here's the thing, because Bill Lazor has called plays before, so it's not like he's going to head up to some guy that he hired to just be an offensive pawn, because he's the one who's going to create all the offensive stuff that's going to be in the offense. Bill Lazor knows how to call plays, and outside of that, he does have a quarterbacks coach who was calling plays in Jacksonville. So it's not like he's giving all duties to spring chickens. He has options. It's just nepotism on his part.
Something's got to give. He's got to give up those play callings. He can't be, calling these 7-step dropbacks, when the offensive line can barely hold a block for 3. We got to get the ball out. It just we had a Cole Kmet sighting.
In the first quarter, then he disappeared again.
Yeah,
I mean,
again.
But these receivers, man, every time they go for a catch, it seems like they're playing pretty hard, but every catch seems like it's like difficult. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of easy pitch and catch on that offense. Everything seems like a stretch or like a challenged ball.
You bring up.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, Brandon, you're good. You're good.
I was going to say, I feel like this is kind of a thing of Nick Foles trying a little bit too hard because of the offensive line he's working behind. And I feel like he has like this thing where he has to get the ball out, and he can't put all of his arm strength into every throw that he's going to make. So I don't think it's any fault of the receivers, because I think they've all played well, outside of maybe Demetrius Harris.
Anthony Miller.
Anthony Miller as well. Trash. How can I forget Anthony Miller? But Anthony Miller is just one of those guys where he'll make a play too, and then he'll just do some nonsense. So
he'll make a brilliant play, and he'll make a Goonery of the week play.
Right.
Yeah, but I was just gonna say, in terms of receivers, I just want to give a shout out to Darnell Mooney. I mean, he's just flying under the radar with his numbers aren't jumping off the page by any stretch of the imagination right now, but. You saw he just completely burned Jalen Ramsey on a double move, and because Foles had no time to throw to him, nothing came out of it. But no one's going to talk about that. Mooney made one of the best corners in the entire National Football League look silly. And if he's going to continue to progress, I mean, Ryan Pace struck gold with that 5th-round pick.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But one thing I do want to see, because we talk about how Matt Nagy is this offensive genius, but truthfully, that term has been skewed thanks to a guy that's in New York right now. Why not treat him like Tyreek Hill? Like, listen, Tariq Cohen's out. I think that was a guy that was like, all right, this is our Tyreek Hill. So, literally, you have a guy who could be a clone of his, and you're not using him to the best of your abilities. Right now, Darnell Mooney is probably the most dynamic playmaker on that offense. Use him to every ability you can, because that is going to be the reason why y'all move the field and won't get stuck in second and 12s and third and 15s and all this other stuff. Get creative with the offense because right now it's predictable. Just like you bringing up Cordero Patterson, getting a pitch on a fourth down, they're not celebrating because they knew it was coming. That's indicative of how much like non-creativity this offense has right now. It's sad.
And you said Tyreek Hill, both fifth-round picks, both former fifth-round picks. So we'll just say it can't happen.
Yep.
Well, one more thing too that stood out to me in that game. What the hell was that kickoff shuffle that they did?
I can't explain it. That's Chris Tabor being Chris Tabor.
Like that reminds me of growing up playing football, fifth, sixth grade. Our coach
The muddle
was having
huddle?
us- yeah, like having us do the dumbest stuff just to try and catch the other team off guard. And it never worked, but we would think it
Reeks
worked.
of desperation.
Yeah, exactly. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Weird.
That was a little bizarre. Do they do that on every kick?
I
I don't think I remember seeing that before from them.
Yeah, that was like, what the hell? Running from one side to the other, like, okay, you're just gonna kick a touchback anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah. Real quick before we move on, another tough matchup this week. What are you guys' predictions for the game?
35-14 Saints. I'm gonna leave it at that. It's gonna get ugly.
I was going to say 27-10, so
Ugh.
right about the same page. It's going to be ugly.
Yeah, the Saints have a good defense. I mean, they haven't played the best this year, but they got some solid guys on there, and I mean that offense can hang with elite defenses. So I feel like that kind of puts the Bears at the underdog in that situation. They're gonna have to find. I mean, their defense is gonna have to play lights out, and that offense, they're gonna have to pick up the ball and move it.
And then, like, in regards to the Saints, too, yeah, Drew Brees hasn't been playing all too well. They've been down Michael Thomas back and practicing in full. They would probably most likely beat up on us with Jameis Winston. Who's kidding? Who are we kidding?
Mm-hmm.
It's just
No.
it's gonna be ugly. I'm not looking forward to it being in that 325 slot. More eyeballs gonna be on the game, and it's gonna be ugly.
Yeah.
My hope is that Bears defense just smothers, 40 and older quarterbacks, and hopefully it won't be any different this week, and it'll be a close game, and hopefully things can align where Nick Foles can get hot for maybe more than just a quarter. We can get some points on the board and get away with a victory here.
Yeah.
We'll be at home. All right, moving on. New segment. We're doing game of the week. It's, on paper, what looks like the most, can't miss matchup for the hardcore sports fans that, love to watch football outside their teams or any sport for that matter. I mean, football is really the only thing going on right now. There was a battle of undefeated teams this past week, the Titans and the Steelers. And that game went down to the wire, and that was quite a game. Did you guys catch it?
Yeah, my biggest takeaway from that is, one, how special the Steelers' defense is, but two, Steelers need to finish games. I believe they scored 3 points in the second half, and they were lucky to have walked out of that one. But they're the team to beat in the AFC, I think.
My biggest takeaway is the defense is really, really good. But my biggest reservation about the Steelers and me picking them to come out the AFC is Ben Roethlisberger. We don't know what we're going to get from a 38-year-old quarterback that's coming off of elbow surgery. We don't know. We didn't know what kind of weapons he was going to have in terms of like the chemistry he was going to have, but apparently he does have a great chemistry with his receivers. It's just a matter of him making the right throws. And this is one of those games where Big Ben was on the road and he kind of struggled, and in terms of throwing interceptions. But this is him. So I guess that this is going to be a typical Ben Roethlisberger year. So I'm not really concerned that much, but I think if anyone's going to hold him back, it's going to be him.
Yeah, it was a fun game to watch. I mean, the Steelers came out hot, in the first half. They look pretty dominant, and then, well, like you were saying, they don't close. Titans came back into the game. Um, kind of some weirdness in the fourth quarter there, and they didn't end up. Was there a missed kick at the end? I can't remember.
Yes, there was.
Okay, yeah. So, whew, those Steelers, man, they keep finding ways to win.
I'll say this though, I mean, the Titans are still a damn good football team. Let's not kid ourselves there. They got outclassed.
Yeah, experience always going to win.
Yeah, I mean, that Steelers defense is really good. Probably the toughest defense the Titans have faced to date. They'll probably learn from that and continue to keep winning football games this year. I'm sure those
Yeah,
teams
and
will
like
play
that,
again in the playoffs.
that Steelers defense is like almost reminiscent of their early 2010s defenses with how aggressive they fly to the football. And I really think a lot of that can be tied back to trading for Minka Fitzpatrick last year. I mean,
Yep.
the difference he's made for that team, they're night and day on the defensive side of the football. I mean, I understand why the Dolphins traded him, but I will never say that was a good deal on their end.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's good. TJ Watt's good. Devin Bush is good, even though he got injured, and I don't think he played last week. But, oof. Next week's game of the week, we'll do a little hype. I got the Steelers again, just because they're playing the Ravens, and that's just there's only one loss between those two teams, and I mean that should get. I mean that's one of those AFC North battles there. I think the Ravens are gonna win that game, but I think it'll be closer than just the Ravens, having their way with the Steelers. I think that'll be a close game.
It's going to be very close, and I think it has the potential to be a ugly offensive game because you have the two quarterbacks that if you put pressure on them, they're turnover prone. And but I do think the difference between the two teams is the mobility of one quarterback and the immobility of another. And I do think that if the passing game does struggle, you'll see Lamar Jackson get out the pocket a lot more. But the only thing is the Steelers will put a hat on him too. So I would say Lamar Jackson better be careful because this is going to be a game where he's going to take some hits. But this game is literally a flip of the coin. But I think I'm gonna go Steelers because right now I need to see Lamar Jackson perform against a team that is a contender. I've not seen that yet. So until I see that, I'll pick the Ravens every single game of the season going forward. But right now, until I see it, I'm going to pick the Steelers for now.
Yeah, I agree with you 100% on that, Brandon. I think that the Steelers right now are the class of the AFC. It's going to be a one-score game, no doubt about it. It always is between these two. It's always going to come down to the end, but I just think that the Steelers' run defense will be able to stymie the Ravens. Now, Mark Ingram's banged up as well still, so there's still a lot of uncertainty in that backfield. Obviously, Lamar Jackson is their leading rusher, but they still can't seem to figure out that committee between Ingram, Gus Edwards, and J.K. Dobbins, and I just think that Steelers are going to be able to take advantage of that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyone want to bet? A little action?
I'll throw some skin on it.
No, not confident.
I'm good.
Some skin on that.
Yeah, I'm down. I'll put some skin on the Ravens.
All right, we'll talk about it.
All right, we'll talk offline. We'll update our bet.
Are you
on...
yeah, how about this? I mean, I don't know. I don't have facial hair, so I can't say, but Steelers win. You go straight mustache.
Ooh.
Oh. Well, what are you wagering in return?
I mean, what do you want me to wager?
I only see hair on your head.
Yeah, I know that's the problem. That's the problem. I just got a haircut. I could, at this point in my life, my facial
Mohawk?
hair, I look like. Oh fuck no. At this point in my life, my facial hair just turns me into looking like I belong on some sort of list. So I mean, I could grow it out and look like it can't go within 1,000 yards of a school, but
Want to
that's
put
your
a line
call.
through one of those eyebrows.
All right, we can do that.
The Vanilla Ice.
Yeah, we could do that. I could deal with that.
Wow. All right. We got a little time left. There's big. I know we didn't announce it earlier, but surprise, some bonus content. Tony La Russa, the
Oh
new
man.
skipper in town.
So here's my thoughts on that. I'm not upset yet. It's going to depend on who they hire as the bench coach, because I really do believe that this is going to end up being a 1 to 2 year deal, or I hate to say it, until Tony La Russa just croaks. But I mean, I don't think Jerry Reinsdorf is going to fire him again. Let's not kid ourselves. But it just screams a Jerry Reinsdorf hire and not a Rick Hahn hire. Rick
Yeah.
Hahn, in his press conference, said that he wanted an analytically minded manager with recent postseason experience. I mean, that's one end of the spectrum. Then you have a 76-year-old Tony La Russa who hasn't managed in 9 years.
I
And
know.
you see, I'm not as upset as most White Sox fans. I'm not. I think there's going to be some disconnect between him and the players in the clubhouse, just in terms of beliefs and stuff. But I think that these guys are enough professional enough to be able to separate that and wanting to win baseball games. But I'm going to be honest. I think I could manage this team to about 85 wins. So I think Tony La Russa still has it in his ability to put together lineups, manage a bullpen, and put the teams in the right spot to win. But I want to see a young, analytically minded bench coach come in and be groomed under him.
So, as a guy who has been a fan of a team that Tony La Russa has coached, as a nostalgia thing, it's like, oh, that's cool. But then you think about like, wait a minute, he's 76 years old. I've been on the record of talking about these older guys and how much they hate fun in baseball, and he was one of the main ones who talked against Tatis for swinging on 3-0 for that grand slam. And you have a Tim Anderson on the team who's just basically who's just rages against the system, I guess you could say. But my biggest thing is the disconnect with the players is just so obvious. But you want to talk about how things have changed from 2011 to 2020 and eventually 2021. Got players that's involved in social justice issues, and he was one of the main ones who was speaking out against that stuff. I saw his stuff, and he seemed sincere until he said, "I don't have a racist bone in my body." Once you say that, you are automatically disqualified in my book. So listen, if he wants to go down that route and people want to say that he's sincere, cool. That's their prerogative. But once I hear stuff like that, I'm just like, all right, whatever. I understand things have been crazy over the past couple of months and minds can change, all that stuff. But people don't forget. So I'm pretty sure with a team that has a lot of minorities on that team, I would hope that, like you said, there's a good bench coach to be there to basically half run the show, because I feel like Tony Russa he just got the job because the job was offered to him. He's always wanted to be in the dugout. He never wanted to be in the front office. So I think this is like what the hell? Let's just do it.
Yeah,
but now I feel like a good support system may make this hire make sense eventually.
Yeah, and it's like with this hire, I would say it's a very high floor, but a very low ceiling. You know what you're going to get from him from a managerial aspect. I mean, I watched his presser today, most of it, and he seemed ready to go. I mean, he did not come off as 76 years old, which is, I mean, that's a decade plus older than the next oldest manager in Major League Baseball. That's a problem. Let's not kid ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll be straight up in the I forgot who asked the question in the presser, but they were straight up with him, asking about stuff along the lines of social justice issues and on-field antics such as that, and like Tim Anderson flipping bats, Tatis, and he answered the questions and he was pretty straight up about it, and I respect that from him. I mean, I don't know how much a 76-year-old can change, but he's claimed he's changed. I don't know. We'll see. I don't want to doubt him, but he's 76 years old, so who knows?
Got a direct quote from my dad today, who is I mean, he kind of follows baseball, but he's not really, into baseball like we are, or even an average fan. He goes, Tony La Russa, what is he, 75?
1
Just
year
like,
old.
like, I don't know. But the only other thing I'd have to say about Tony La Russa coming, he's coming home to Chicago.
Yeah, I mean, Jerry Reinsdorf. So here's my one last spin zone about this hire. It was brought up to me that Jerry Reinsdorf said, and I've forgotten where he was interviewed, but he said his biggest regret in his ownership experience as an owner has been firing Tony La Russa in 1986. He wanted Tony La Russa to be the guy to bring a World Series to the South Side of Chicago. So maybe he's going to open up the checkbook a little bit more. Maybe he's going to do whatever he can to get La Russa a ring as a White Sox manager. Bring in Trevor Bauer, bring in George Springer, maybe Marcus Stroman, Bauer, who knows?
But that's going to also be the thing that could stray away guys from going to Chicago, because they see a guy who's he's probably like, listen, he may say the right things for the media. It happens all the time. So who knows if people are going to buy into what he's saying? I know I'm not at this point, but we'll see. Everyone's going to think differently than me. That's fine, but it's just a matter of how they feel. Is it good for the nostalgia factor, or are you here for the here and now type of thing?
Yeah, I'm trying to play the audio to I'm coming home, but I don't want to get demonetized or whatever, but I don't think it matters at this point. I just didn't realize that there's that's like the chorus of the song. So
Oh, and then one last Goonery of the week on my end. I just want to give a special one to Justin Turner, walking back out onto the field to celebrate with the boys after being told to leave after testing positive for Corona. I mean, the MLB is fucked if you test positive 2 days in a row.
Yeah,
that's not good. I thought you were going to say Jay.
He just the amount of ignorance on part of him, the security, the team, and I get it. You want your brothers out there to celebrate a championship with, but for the love of God, you got families out on the field. You don't want to be the guy being known as the super spreader of the group. Like, just stay away. Like, don't put yourself in danger. Don't put yourself in danger. Don't put your teammates in danger, because that's just a really, really bad look. And if I'm a teammate of his, I'm going to respect him for that.
Right on. That's all we got for you today, folks. If you want to support the old podcast, YouTube show, definitely like us on Facebook. Hit us up on Instagram at the Goonery. Find the YouTube channel. Twitter again at _Goonery. Find these guys, the innkeeper, Brandon Cauley, Beans on Twitter. Till next time.